Sector violation detected. Purge sequence initiated.
The cradle bites when the novices cinch it, leather gone slick with sanctified oil and sweat. My teeth click once the taste of iron fills my mouth. The vault hums like a deep well. On the skin behind my eyes, a pale pressure gathers, the way cloud gathers before a storm. Above the cathedral roof, something enormous turns. I feel it as a change in weight, a finger pressed gently to the world's skull. By second bell, wax crawls down the prayer candles and hardens on the tiles by third. In the bells stop. Novices relight the censures, the straps tighten again. We keep our speech short, waste nothing. I listen to the sluice of the drip line feeding the chair. The copper taste does not leave. Breathe, anchorite, the eldest novice says. He is not old. His voice has been trained to stay smooth across tremor. We have all been trained in small ways that become our whole shape. I draw the first seal across the mind. The chair shudders, and the spine jacks find their ports with the click of a liturgy. Incense settles like gray snowfall. I breathe so the lungs do not forget. The choir to the left coughs as one. Coughs can align too. There is no window, but I know the sky is a pressure behind the mortar. It thickens with shipmass and the wearing down of high winds. Dock towers moan as they slew. Somewhere beyond, in the outward districts where tin roofs ripple and burn as easy as leaves, and the people count ships by the way the shadows pass over their yards. They keep counting because that is something a body can do. Our ward priest thumbs a switch that should have been replaced years ago. It crackles, sulks, then illuminates the plastine tile where we chalk our sigil so the machine spirits know the voice is ours. The sigil makes the floor look steadied. The floor is not steady. The vault breathes with us. I swallow the weak taste of milk the ward priest left at my tongue, and a touch of sweet before the heat of transmission. The Gellerham rises out of nowhere, out of everywhere. It is the sound of iron when a storm moves near. We begin. We do not call our message a plea. The words chosen for the litany are antique and low, tight-fitting, oiled. I fit them together. They lock, and the locking hurts. I push through because pain is also a hinge. The first sending rolls out from me in a slow wave like warmth moving along a stone bench after a day of sun. It moves. I can feel it move, the way a fisher might feel a line. It goes in the direction of the light that is not a star. There is answer enough to keep going. The constant far shine, untouchable and precise, as if a great window were open in the middle of a building with no doors. I do not need to see it. I know the shape of its absence when it is not there. It is there. That is good. We begin the sequence of codes assigned to us. I keep them in my hands as if they were solid weights. Each weight has an edge you do not want to hold for long. I hold them anyway. The message passes back and forth, layered. The novices count. They raise fingers and drop them. The saints look down in beaten gold and approve nothing and everything. Above the vault, shells find roofs. Far booms pulse through the rib of the building. The chair quivers. My ankles chafe inside the bindings. The taste in the air becomes hot wire. Something living is burning in the streets. I know that smell, and I push the knowledge away in case it does not help us live. In the side chapels, the other anchors are working. I can taste them as warmth through the cold stone, as if I lay palm flat against sun-warmed brick. One has a voice too bright, burned thin by yesterday. Another is quiet but steady, reeds at the edge of a marsh. We keep the intervals tight, overlapping like shields. We take turns leaning into the push. The first hour is the hardest. It extends. It takes the skin off seconds and uses it to wrap minutes until everything is raw. The edges soften. The litany steadies me more than the chair. Breathe on the count. Speak the names we have been given permission to speak. Do not add a name not on the list. The minds that listen do not like suddenness. At some point, a boy comes weeping to the other side of the vault door. We are not to open the door. He screams for his father. We do not open the door. His feet make the particular scrape of someone dragged away by the belt. We cannot open the door. The choir does not break. We do not talk. Still, I feel what each of us carries and hides. The old woman on the third chair carries a pebble of bone in her cheek like a charm. The pilgrim child on the fifth carries a smell of clean straw, memory of a beast he loved once. I carry a crack that runs from the front of the mind backward in a shining seam. If I press too hard from the wrong angle, and the seam gleams once and goes dark again like a fish turning under a river. The seam is not new. It has never widened enough to spill. Outside the vault, the catechists and door wardens do the other work. They stack the bodies by the colonnade. They mark chalk crosses. They hold candles against the drip of wind. None of it is wasted. It is all made into shape. The second hour steadies the way vertigo steadies when you surrender to the spin, and the heat builds the spine jack sear, and then that sear becomes normal. And then normal redefines itself again. The sending repeats, accretes a burr of impatience like frost at the edge of a hatchway. Someone is waiting for reply. I know this by the way the novices count faster. The youngest chews his lip until it bleeds. He wipes the blood away with the back of his sleeve, and the modulator slaps his hand, because the machine does not want salt on it. Then, from above the vault, as across the thickness of stone and prayer and ash, a new weight arrives. It is a weight with authority. I feel it by the way the other weights adjust. Dock towers check their groans. The street noise kneels and waits. When ships arrive, the city remembers old behavior. The arrivals are many. Their gravity bites with even teeth. They cut the sky into slivers you could stack like plates. The air goes easier for a moment, as if a hand had opened a window. We are all, every one of us in the vault, so tired of choking smoke, we sharpen to a point like an arrow stacked from different woods. The ward priest looks to me and lifts 2 fingers. We begin the rising call, the one with the names of our district wound through it like wire through beads. I feel the others lean with me. The old woman's pebble presses against the inside of her cheek as she grinds her teeth. It helps no one. But if it helps her, then it helps. We call. I feel the ships incline, in the way hawks incline their heads when a thing on the ground moves. I feel their hull hums. I taste the cleanliness of void monastic air filters descending through our filth. They do not smell what we smell. They are engines and liturgies and intentions in clean boots. Their minds are far from us, their edges are sharp. But they have heard something. The way people on a roof know that below in a courtyard someone has said their name. We call again. No reply comes to my ear, but I feel a shift in the web. Far out at the edge of touch, something nods. The novices yip once, unable to bite it back. The ward priest glares them into stillness. We continue. The city outside rises to meet the new weight. I can feel their hands lift. I can see none of it, eyes turned inward, but I know by the sound of lids opening, hatches, flues, doors, mouths. The smoke changes character because breath changes it. The first packets go. They go cleanly. They have the smell of whetstone, and they would cut flesh neat. We send more. The chair bites deeper. The skin at my ribs has worn sore where salt has dried. I want water. I keep the tongue flat so it does not stick. There is a point when expectation becomes a skin in itself. It wraps the body. The heat beneath it cannot escape. The next breath becomes something the skin rejects. At that point, you decide to keep living beneath the new skin. It is easier if you make no decision at all and let habit make it for you. We send. I feel the ships considering. Then it happens. It is not a sound. It is the thickening of silence into a thing that can take your footprint. The ships do something to the air, and the air drops a fraction. The ward priest makes a surprised noise, a rush of breath across his teeth like a word that does not want to be born. The silence has a pattern hidden in it. It becomes a litany without words, edged, precise, colder than virtue. And it pushes through the vault and through my head, and it does not hurt at first. It simply occupies. I feel the sigil on the floor lift its attention away from us and turn to the new thing like a dog that has chosen a new master. The chalk lines do not move, but they move. A slate near the modulator blanks. The youngest novice taps it as if he could wake a sleeper. The slate remains blind. The hum of the Geller falls half a step and resolves into a new key. I know this shape, and I do not have a word for it, not one I am allowed to speak. The silence has been taught to them in rooms I will never see. It makes us a margin, the old woman hisses. The pilgrim child chokes a sob. I raise the next call without waiting for the motion from the priest because the next call must stand up now or never. My throat tries to close, I keep it open. The sending goes out. It slides along the new silence and then falls off it as if silence were polished glass. We send again, and the silence intensifies by a fraction you could hide under a fingernail. The chair's indicators begin to lie. They light, but I cannot feel their light reach anything. The ward priest strokes the pitted edge of the panel with thumb and grease. He strokes again. The panel obeys nothing but its own fear. Above, the ships incline away. No voice of orbit reaches us, no code mark. They have done what they came to do and kept clean. They will not mark us with fire, not yet, maybe never. And they will not set weight upon our roofs. They open their hands and let go of the idea of us. Then they close their hands on clean levers and do what their sequence tells them to do next, which does not include listening to this place. The shock is quiet. It keeps being quiet. Silence deepens as a well deepens when a parish keeps drawing water and no one believes the bottom is close. I keep calling because I do not know what to do when I am not calling, and the sound in my head becomes a ribbon of metal under too much tension. I have heard that sound before when the lift cables on the east cliff snapped one winter. The sound came before the fall. People said it was beautiful. People say strange things when they have slept too little and it is cold. The other anchors begin to falter. The pilgrim child vomits. The vomit goes down the drain, the smell rises anyway. The old woman calls without words now, a bell with no tongue swung back and forth by a machine. The novice who counted too fast sits in a slow heap by the wall. His lips move. He is not praying for the world. He prays for his mother, I think. There is no prohibition against that if you can do it and still make the machine answer you. The machine no longer answers any of us. It looks past us to the silence and asks its permission. Permit me this, I think, or I do not think it, and I press. My teeth hurt, and the skin that is a new skin tries to hold me in. I push against it, not because defiance is a virtue, but because this is the only direction I have been made to move. For a moment, the sending catches. It hooks on the nick of an imperfection. It slides along it and sparks. I feel the ships or something at ship height twitch a fraction. I call there to the fault line. I drive the call like a wedge. The seam in my head gleams white and beautiful. I taste copper so thick I cannot swallow it. Then the silence flattens. The nick is smoothed. The wedge has nowhere to hold. The chair reads me as a static noise. The modulator kills a circuit to save a fuse. Above the vault, a deeper thunder drives spooling. Clouds turn black and itch with ions. Water skins the streets and lifts ash in greasy curls. People run into the runoff and hold their faces up because for a moment the water is not fire. They open their mouths. The sky does not answer, and the ships leave like stones sliding out from under a blanket. The ward priest does not order us to stop. He does not need to. One by one, the lights on the panel assume steadiness. A steady light tells the same lie more politely than a flicker. We remain in the positions duty glued us to. Duty is a strong glue in the right cold. It does not release for years. We hold until the humming in the bones lowers. And we hold until the novices forget to count, because there is no point counting if numbers do not ferry anything from one side to the other. The door wardens shift their boots and realize they have been standing on cracked beer bottles and step off and glass clicks. Outside, the city howls into new weather. It has learned already how to do this by itself. The pilgrim child's shoulders shake. They shake until the shaking is all he is, and the old woman makes a little sound like a hinge closing for the last time. The ward priest looks at his hands and wipes them very carefully on the apron they gave him when he took this post. He keeps the movements regular, as if they were work he had been told to complete. The novices unbuckle me. Their hands are careful, trained to precision so we do not lose flesh unnecessarily. The first strap rises from my chest and cold air slides under it, making me shiver though the room is hot as a kiln. And the spine jacks withdraw with a sigh, a wet kiss you would not want to hear from any mouth. The port seals close, a soft pop-pop-pop down the column of spine. The chair rocks once free of me. I do not fully remember how to separate from it. My skin argues with the air. I try to stand. I sit instead. Someone brings water. It tastes like boiled coins. I drink anyway. The river in my throat knows where to go. Movement returns to fingers first, toes come last, as they always do, and I soak a cloth and wipe blood from where the ports weep. The cloth comes away muddy and bright. No one says the obvious. The vault is a place that has rules about what words can stand up here. The words that could stand would break under their own weight. We make little words do the holding. Again, says the ward priest. It is not a question. It is a test of breathing. Again, I tell him, because if a thing should be done and you are the one near it with the hands to do it, you need no other reason. Before we begin the next cycle, someone rattles the iron at the door. The rasp climbs the bars into our bones. A woman speaks there, her voice scoured. She asks us for the name of an hour when it will become safe. She wants us to tell her a number that will carry her until that hour arrives. The door warden speaks to her through the crack in the grill. His words are gentle in a way he might be ashamed of later. He tells her to go where rooms have no windows, and if the rooms are full, go to the drains. If the drains are full, go where there is a roof and make your body small. He does not say it will become safe. She thanks him as if he had given bread. Her feet sound fainter. I breathe. We send again into a silence that does not need to say anything to us to say everything. The next hours blur by means of small disciplines. Lift and lower the jaw to keep from locking. Roll the eyes once in their sockets, though they hold no light. Deflex the fingers on counts of 30. Watch the approach of faintness like a thief in a hall move the lamp to another table just ahead of it. I smell the ward priest's hair singe when he leans too near a candle. I hear him pat it out with his palm. He does not curse. He has reserved cursing for the tally books. Between intervals, I become aware of my body as a list of openings, the ports along the spine, the mouth sore along the edges, the ears, though hearing has become a useless art, and the place where the needle sleeps in the forearm, the place where my entire life drains itself slowly into a work that passes through me and leaves nothing of me behind as proof. I am a pipe the world coughs through and then forgets. The third cycle ends with 3 of us still in our cradles. It ends not because the schedule decrees it, but because the modulator locks a lever of its own accord. When I try to raise the sequence, the lever resists with a convincing humility, and behind it a fuse has blown its silver heart out. No one has a replacement. We have spares for lamps, for cap keys, for linen. We do not have spare hearts for this machine. Without the modulator's hum, the silence inside the vault becomes the size of a district. Outside, the day has slouched into evening. Screams rip into hoarseness and settle into coughing. Fires do the opposite, and one of the door wardens drops to his knees and retches quietly into his hands and then stands again and wipes them on his coat cuffs because there are better ways to spend water than to waste it washing. The ward priest counts through prayer beads so fast they click like rain. He reaches the end and begins again. He will keep beginning again until his fingers bleed through the skin image of righteousness they have calloused into. I stand. My legs work as if they had never left work, and the chair complains at losing a shape. It will take another shape easily when any of us returns. The leather remembers. Leather always remembers more than flesh. I walk into the adjoining chamber. The cooling system there had been patched with wire that is also prayer. A small shrine sits in the corner where someone once brought a good apple, perfect as a seal on a letter, and left it to brown for the saints. I put my fingers on the metal of the cooling unit, feel it tremble, even its insides rattle like nails in a jar. I stroke it anyway to speak kindly to the machine spirit. Machines need it less than we do, but they accept kindness nobly without suspicion. On the far wall, the address board that once lit with the names of listening posts and allies is a flat mirror of black. When we speak our names, nothing prints there. The board does not know how to say us. It knows silence very well. I go back to the chair. The novices look to me. One of them slips his hand beneath my bandaged wrist for one breath length, as if checking for a pulse he knows is there. His hand is warmer than mine. We say nothing. He loosens the strap buckles for the way back in. He does it as a kindness, not a concession. We both pretend there will be a reply next time because that is the only bridge to the next minute that we can afford to cross. We begin again. The new cycle has teeth set farther apart. The bite still hurts. The silence remembers us now, and it is like a tidal flat that has learned the footfalls of a fisher and decides to drown them more gently. It does not resist us with anger. It resists us by not needing to resist at all. Night rises. The vault's lumen coils buzz and draw moths from nowhere. The moths thrum their powdered bodies against the glass and leave gray smears like old ash on the edges. One settles on my sleeve, trembling. The heat from my arm seems to shelter it. I leave it there. Its wings are a small prayer, and it cannot save anything. It believes nothing except light. When the ship's last thunder fades, it leaves a contour in the world like the empty space a heavy reliquary carves in a table's grain after it has been lifted. I know exactly where the weight used to rest, and that knowledge is a pain that can be located with 2 fingers. I press it. The pain remains, clear and bright. We stand down for a half hour. The ward priest calls it a pause to mend instruments, though no mending can be done. He means a pause to grieve without the word grieve in it. The door warden dozes on his feet, and when he wakes, shamed, no one has moved. We begin once more because the hands have not fallen from our wrists. We begin because when a voice fails to raise echo, it must lean into its own marrow and ring there. And that is also a kind of answering. I raise the call into a sky that has turned from copper to slate. I raise it into a machine memory that has reshelved our book without reading it. I hold the firing line steady, unfed, till my shoulders burn. The breath goes out, the breath comes back in. It is a miracle of small returns. Later, how much later is a matter of light fading along the ribs. There are no clocks any longer that anyone honors. Someone screams again at the door. This time the scream is not a question. It is only an inventory of pain. The door warden speaks to that too, and that also helps in the way bread helps without lengthening a day. I work until the crack running the length of me flashes again. I do not let it widen. If it widens, what is inside will not be voice. It will be water, and it will go wherever it wishes and be done with this place. I grip the edge of the chair because you can trick a mind into staying when you give the hands enough to do. The ward priest touches my shoulder. We have done enough for this cycle, and he has no lever to pull to prove it. He rests his palm there, and his palm is proof. I let my head fall forward. From this angle, the world smells of hot stone and stale offerings and the old rot inside the bowls where flowers once sat and turned to juice. We unfasten. We stand. We do not go home. There is nowhere a home would have known how to open its door to us after what we have carried in. We remain in the vault in the near dark. We keep lamps lit but turned low, and the ward priest scratches through a maintenance schedule as if marking lines could bridle loss. The pilgrims form a shallow circle and share the crumbs they have, one mouth after another in turn. The taste of someone else's bread is closer to meat than your own. At last, when the air becomes a weight again and the smell of rain finally leaves through a vent that remembers what the word outside means, I lift the little cloth and wipe the panel face of the modulator. And the cloth is gray when I began, it is black when I finish. I fold it precisely as I was taught. I set it to dry on the lip of the offering bowl where a coin sticks to the metal, green with a bloom of old thumb. The moth on my sleeve flutters and lets go. It lifts itself to the coil. It circles once. It touches the glass and finds it warm beyond wisdom. It stays. At the edge of the address board, one tiny diode blinks, its charge decay of no meaning but the habit of lights dying slowly, and the blink fades. The board remains a black face with nothing written upon it, slick as the underside of a slate tide. I lay my fingers to its cool, indifferent skin and feel my heat go into it without reply. Somewhere outside, a barrel explodes with a pop like a dropped book. In the vault, a drop of wax detaches from the lip of a guttering candle and falls. It strikes the tile and hardens into a pale tear no boot will bother to crush.